So let's dig into the curriculum a little bit. Find out what it is that what you are going to learn. We really break up this curriculum into three main sections. And perfectly on with Erin and Dion's point, you are really going to get into yourself and your why and your values. Um, that is just really important to all of this work. Why you're here today and why you choose the professions or the volunteer work that you do, all of that stuff is really important. Then we're going to understand the system, how it is set up currently, and how do we change those systems. Then we're really going to dig into school boards and education policy. So we're going to talk about the different committees. We do use Cincinnati Public Schools as our test case, if you will, for a lot of things. We visit their meetings. Um, I am not in Cincinnati Public Schools. Like I said, I'm in Forest Hills. We have had more and more folks from various suburbs join throughout the years. So please know there is no location requirement here. And we'll talk about a lot of things that is relevant to all school boards. Um, so we will get into how policy is made. We'll even talk about how some policy is made at the state house and at the city level and how those things kind of impact one another. And district finances. So much of the decisions made in our schools is due to a budget. And I'm sure you're hearing the news about how much Cincinnati Public is going to have to cut. I know a lot of public schools are really nervous right now. Um, so really, I mean, I'm still learning about the budget process. It's a lot to learn. And the district treasurer that we bring in just does a really great job of breaking it down in a way that's easy to understand. So finally, you're going to process everything and you're going to really dig into, again, your personal vision for impact. That's what we call it, our vision for impact, um, where you will say what change you want to make or what impact you want to make and what seat do you want to make it from, right? So, for example, to both Dion and Aaron were kind of talking about whether you're going to run for something or not. You can be an advocate who has a seat on the school board, and you can be an advocate who is influencing change from a nonprofit board seat or a nonprofit staff seat. You can do it from the role within a classroom, within a school building, within a district, within the community, within other parents. There's all of these different seats that you will have learned about throughout the process. And then you're going to think about how do you leverage your own strengths and not duplicate something that someone else is doing from our network, and how are you going to plug in? Okay, so with that, Dion and Aaron, talk to us about the content and what resonated with how these sessions were set up. What session stood out to you? Talk about that experience.
Well, I'll jump in. Um, again, I go back to the why. Kind of going through those sessions, those initial sessions to develop, your why, your purpose. And, for those who may be asking, well, what's the why? Your purpose. That's what it is. The purpose for you being in this program. And, I have just retired. I'm retired since I police sergeant. At the time, I was, running for a very major role, and that's for our union president. Uh, I developed a campaign, much like that of, a city council seat. Unfortunately, I didn't win. I learned a lot in the process, and School Board School was instrumental in helping me to develop those processes and to help me understand the pathways. But again, you don't have to run for a seat to be impactful. You can be impactful in many, many ways throughout your community simply by leveraging the tools that you will learn in School Board School. And I can't say that any necessary class was better than the other. I think they all had its own intricate pieces that helped you to develop the entirety of the program and helped you really to get an understanding of yourself? And again, going back to your why. Aaron, it's on you.
Um, oh, Andrea, could you restate the question again?
Um, just the structure of like the content itself and if any sessions really stood out for you.
Oh, yes. Okay. The structure of the content was one of the biggest, um, one of the things that made me want to stay and put in 1,000% for school board school was literally the consideration. Now, this is going to sound strange, but consideration means clarity and clarity of communication. So when you get in there, everything is organized. Your guests are already arranged down to the seating. Everyone you're seated around is intentional. You always meet different people. So at some point, even, I mean, every activity, you're going to meet everybody in your class. You're going to engage with everyone in your class. You're going to exchange information and ideas with everyone in your class. And what it allows you to do is to see how you fit in with everybody. See if someone is doing work that you might be more interested in. See if somebody is doing work that you could collaborate on. So that was definitely one of the highlights, just the environment and the level of consideration and every single detail, every single layer. I mean, from the binders to the paperwork to the swag to the guests to the little field trips we take, to the activities we do. It is so intentional. Like, um, it you almost have to experience it to understand like the level of almost hospitality because of the people who believe in this. You know, Lisa, now Andrea, everybody who's like in charge of working the background operations of school board school really knows one how incredibly hard this work can be, and hard by energy intensive and focus intensive. This work can be, how yeah we can stick together, you know, as a ragtag, of group of people, but it can also be nice and it can also be nurturing and can also be a space where we come to restore, um, mentally and physically and intentionally and with purpose. There are some days where we were just doing a meeting and we gathered, and I forget which day it was. Actually, speaking of sessions that stood out to me, we had a meeting and I think we were just gathering to see what we could do. I think there was something major in federal government that was really it really drained a lot of us. And we just sat in a circle and we just talked. I think we pushed the activity for like 30 minutes and we just talked. And my response was, I'm just feeling really overwhelmed right now. And everybody felt it, but it made me feel so supported to be able to say to all of these people in the space, that I felt really overwhelmed. And we're just all sitting there, city council people, college professors, heads of their business, parents, community members like me. We're just all sitting there like, yeah, it's a lot. To have that kind of reality and impact is so nice. Um, One of my favorite individual sessions, though, just to kind of wrap this up, was when we did a chart, talking about all of our, I guess, traits, like our backgrounds, like, how your identifiers. If you identify as somebody who is, with this religion, your gender, if you are, your race. I think one of the things we talked about adding was like age and abilities. But we did a chart and we talked about what those beliefs and how they impacted us as people. So you guys see how granular it gets. Like we're getting down to you as a person first because we understand like we care about who engages with their kids, and we have to know who we are to know how we can impact and engage. So that's just one of the things that school board school does to fully prepare you for the kind of work that you think you're going to do or that you're going to do, for children going forward. So